All right. Shalom. All praise to the Most High, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Makakwadash, and double honor to our apostles, elders, and bishops here at Great Millstone for teaching His truth that's going all around the earth. And shalom to the hopeful elect out there. It's your brother Atazwan from the Great Millstone here in St. Louis. And I'm going to go into a lesson, all right, based on a couple of events that happened this past week. All right, today is Saturday, right? It's the 13th, I believe. You know, in the middle of the morning, just praying about a topic to go into. And lo and behold, this morning, I watched a couple of brothers' videos on the whole ordeal with this guy being assassinated this week, you know, and the decisions that are being made by these policymakers, starting with your commander-in-chief, right, of the United States, the various policies in which he's trying to enforce by bringing in the National Guard, you know, to go into all these different big cities that they claim are riddled with crime and all that sort of thing. All right, but really what's going on, we're living in some beautiful times because we are in the time of just about of several prophecies of Jacob's trouble and the MOTB and all those things. And then we can't forget that deliverance is a part of the prophecy as well, right? As well as destruction. And this is what these people are afraid of, right? We saw the event, and we're going to watch a news clip of them trying to shoot down what they call a UFO, and we know it as the chariots of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Salakia for this chair. Bear with me. Okay? And this is what they're afraid of, right? Because the scriptures say that the Lord shall send, you know, that curse that will go all across the earth or in the earth, right? That curse upon the earth, okay, in which it will be the deliverance of the Israelites, the elect of Israel, but that curse that enters into the house of the thief. And we know that these people are nothing more than thieves. That's all they've ever been, okay? And yet they prop themselves up as if they're these noble, great people who want peace and order when they're the ones who've gone into earth and spilled innocent blood to gather all the treasures of the earth unto themselves, right? And then to subjugate all other nations, but in particular, the nation of Israel, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who are scattered all across the earth, okay? But this is that curse that they're afraid of now. Now, I'm going to minimize this, and then we'll go into, if we can, this news report right here. All right, so let me make sure I got it turned up. And I haven't watched it fully, but I think this is what it's going into. So we'll watch this. I don't know if any commercials will pop up. They may.
A close encounter on Capitol Hill with Representative Eric Burlison showing some whistleblower video during a hearing about UFOs. It seems to show a U.S. military drone shooting a missile at an unidentified object just off the coast of Yemen last year. But as CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie Dackett reports, the aerial mission did not go as planned.
The newly released video captured by a U.S. Reaper drone shows a glowing orb off the coast of Yemen. Suddenly, on the left side of your screen, you see a Hellfire missile zip in, strike that unidentified object, and bounce right off it. When we slow the video down, you see the Hellfire missile continue to travel on its path, that trajectory becoming clearer from this zoomed-out angle. Not shown is a second Reaper drone that launched the missile. Congressman Eric Burlison shared the video at a House Oversight Committee on what the military calls unidentified aerial phenomena, better known as UFOs.
That's a Hellfire missile smacking into that UFO and just bounced right off. And it kept going.
It kept going, and it looks like the debris was taken with it.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
We've never seen a Hellfire missile hit a target and bounce off.
Lou Elizondo is a former senior intelligence officer with the Pentagon.
The Hellfire makes a hit, a kinetic strike on something solid. There's usually not much left. of whatever it is it's hitting. It's very, very destructive. What seems to happen is that the missile is either redirected, or in some case perhaps glances off the object and continues on its way.
A recent government report revealed the government received more than 750 new UAP sightings in the 2024 fiscal year, leaving lawmakers digging into the mystery and national security concerns posed by these objects.
Does this video scare you guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
Wiggins?
Yes.
Yes.
Me too. There's a lot of information that's not in that video, like what mission they were on, and as they said, what are we even looking at here? We do know that the U.S. military was conducting airstrikes against Houthi targets at the time. Pentagon officials tell CBS News, no comment. Charlie Daggett, CBS News, Washington.
And you damn right, you ought to be afraid, all right? And Esau is shaking in his boots because they've seen something, which they've known about the chariots all these years, but they've seen something that they know they can't handle, all right? This is Isaiah, Salakia, chapter 19 and verse 1. It says, the burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, right? And these are the chariots of the Lord. And shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at their at their presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. You see, and so all their idols, you know, their false pride, their idea of being the eagle, their idea of their red, white, and blue flag, and so on. Their fake gods, you know, what they do in private, who they pray to, all these different things are going to come to naught. This is the fall of Esau and Edom that we're watching, right? And the Lord is giving us his evidence. And the evidence is really, or these clips that we see, whatever it may be, are for the elect of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, okay? These are signs for us, okay? As these people ponder what this is, what's going on, okay? But they innately know that their downfall is here, all right? Let's go to verse 2, and it reads, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And you see, Salakia, you see even with the other event, the major event this week, with that guy being taken out by his own, as it appears, right? It's alleged, okay? So the Lord has began to turn these Egyptians against each other, right? Left against right, so on and so forth that they keep mentioning, right? And little did they know it would be one of their very own that would take him down. You see, it's a beautiful plan by Yahweh Shem Yahushai, all right? And we sitting back and we see what's going on, okay? And we're in no wise afraid of what's coming, right? In fact, we pray for it, all right? That this place will be taken down and will be delivered, all right? Let's go on to verse 3 and 4 here. And it says, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and will, Salakia, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. And the counsel is what? The so-called, you see, they asked them a question in Congress, are you afraid of what you see? And they answered yes, right? So the Lord is destroying their counsel, okay? They don't know what to do. They don't know what to make of it. And you see Jake, sellout Jakes, you know, that are in Congress and are representatives and think that they've, you know, they're in good case, you know, amongst the Edomites, all right? And you too will be destroyed. At least they repent, which I guess it's a safe bet to say, you know, those who create these policies and are in administration in these high up levels of so-called government, they're not gonna understand what's going on, and they're not gonna receive the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. They're exactly where they're supposed to be. Okay. Going on, it says, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers, okay, and them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards, right? So they're looking for counsel as to what they're going to have to do, All right. Verse 4, and the Egyptians will give over into the hand, Salakia, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord. And you see that now with this dude who declared himself king, right? He's on basically on life support himself, you know, because his physical body is failing him. People can't stand to be around him. They say he stinks, he smells, right? It's like rotten flesh or crap. Let's just say it as they said it, right? That this dude, man, has incontinence, right? He can't hold his bowels, and so on. But this dude's mind is set to do wickedness and to be cruel to the people, right, of his own land. You see? Going on, it says, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai of hosts. Okay? So this is where their government now is afraid, right? Because they see the downfall of Babylon the Great, all right, and AKA Egypt, Sodom, and so on. All right, then you had this issue here this week with this guy here, you know, and fair use, I'm claiming fair use under the Copyright Act of 1976, right? That we could use this information for educational purposes. We're not gaining any money, right, or any monetary benefits with these news outlets, all right, these agencies, and so forth. This is strictly for educational purposes. Okay, so now you have this guy here who was done in by his own. Okay, and here's as they say, the suspect, right? As much as they wanted it to be somebody else, right? They wanted it to be a Jake, basically, but no, it was one of their own, right? Allegedly. Okay. And so with that in mind, you know, this being the big story of the week, you know, now they're all perplexed. How could this happen? How could this be one of our own? You know, because it's time for your end, Esau. That's how. Okay? And Esau is filled with pride. The scriptures tell us about that. Okay? It tells us about their pride. And here you have a statement by this guy's widow, who says, no idea what you have unleashed. Charlie Kirk's wife delivers first public address, right? So she's filled with pride. She's going to champion on what he stood for. Nothing but pride. Okay? These people will be proudful until the very, very end. Because this is all they got left. All right? So let's look at the definition of pride. Okay, let's see if we can play it here.
Pride.
Okay, and it says what? In the first definition here, it says a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements, right? So in their minds, they feel that they're at the top of the list. They're the best people on the earth. They know about law. They know about order. They have the right to have and to own all the best parts of the land and so on and so forth. Well, the earth was given to you for a time period, you see. But now that time period is over and the Lord is beginning to flex his muscle, as it were, okay? A feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements, the achievements of those with whom one is closely associated, or from qualities or possessions that are widely admired, okay? And that's what Esau is all about, you know, giving this image that they're the pure, honest people of the earth, okay? And the second one, it says a person or thing that arouses a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction. And that's what's in Esau, Edom, is that pride. But that pride will bring their destruction. And we're at that time now. And for us, this is beautiful. All right, let's just quickly go over to Obadiah, right? Because they're warned about their pride. and what their destruction is going to be. And call halal Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that we're witnessing it. We're alive at the best time, man, to see the downfall, okay, of our enemy, the number one chief enemy of the Israelites. Obadiah 1:1, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathens. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. Right. And you even got other nation people who are weighing in as to what happened here on Wednesday with that guy being taken out. You know, and they're like, man, America is bad. They doing terrible over there. All right. Verse 3, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. Right. And so you see them talking with more and more pride now. Okay. How they're going to go into these cities. We're going to clean these cities up. You know. This is how they're talking. Okay. Thou that dwelleth in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitations is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest amongst the stars, whence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Right. So as you watch the downfall of these wicked Edomites, particularly here in Babylon the Great, you see it's imploding, right? It's coming from the inside and going out because these Egyptians are rising against each other. But that was the perfect plan of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay, all we have to do is stand back and watch the fallout. Let's go over to Isaiah 14. And let me see here. Do I want to go to the top? I'll start at the top. Isaiah 14:1, it says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them, and those strangers are the Israelites. Salakia. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord Yahweh for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And Esau, Edom, is the one that oppressed us, right, and chased us all throughout the earth. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord Yahweh, by Shem Yahushai, shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Right, we serve hard bondage over here over the last totally for all of the Israelites, including the northern kingdom that was already over here, more than 500 years, right? That these devils been going back and forth and shipping us all over the earth and doing all those things like that, you know? Okay? And we served in bondage then and still now, yet today. Okay? We're still found in their hands. Verse 4, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Yeah, and America will eventually become powerless, okay, under their king. And this guy called himself king earlier this year. Verse 5, the Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continuous stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet, they break forth in the same. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, right, since thou hast been taken out of power, no fellas come up against us. Right? Because they even polluted the whole earth and destroyed as much as the earth as they could. You see? Verse 9, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth it hath raised up from their thrones, all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become as weak as we? Art thou become like unto us, right? And so America is in a period of deterioration. Not only that, but its own power is not on a level where other nations have not matched them, right? Because you got all these other nations in the Far East who have the same amount of technology as America. So America is not the bully of the earth anymore. Though it played itself as the police of the whole world, yet they were really behind closed doors in their hearts or their minds, being deceitful and liars as to going into these countries to pillage them, all right, under the guise of coming to help them, okay? All they, verse 10, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. Right. Worms eat what? Dead flesh. Okay, and consume it. All right. We can go down a little bit further. Verse 12, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations, right? Talking about this white man, right? The so-called white man, Esau, Edom, as Lucifer. Not the spiritual demon Satan, but this man who's known in the earth as the devil, the deceiver, one who plays the part of Satan. Verse 13, for thou hast said in thy heart, right? That's that pride again. I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Right, the Lord is going to throw them out of power, right, with the return of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? Yahushai and the host, or the heavenly host of angels, right, who travel, okay, in those, what you would call UFOs, that travel in these vessels. Okay, now I'm going to show another picture. Salaki, if I could get it up, forgive me. This picture here was taken, about 6 years ago, maybe. And it was out here in a place called Troy, Missouri, Salakia, at a high school parking lot. And one of my co-workers had sent it to me. And right here is real faint, but you see this light. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera or not, but this light right here, right? They were looking at it when they came out of the school. This was in the fall, I believe. So, you know, it gets dark early in the fall, but this light right here, they were looking at it and were kind of wondering, what is that light? And if I can, I'm going to try to make this to where you can actually see it. Yeah, it keeps getting bigger. I'm not asking for it to get bigger. But anyway, it's this light right here, which looks like a long line. Excuse me. Let me see if the next photo comes up. But it eventually turns into this, which is what you would call a UFO. You see it? And so they sent it. They were confused. What the F is this? Well, it's a chariot in the middle of the sky. You see? So they're real. They do exist. And that's what the Lord is coming in. Okay? And the host of heaven. And they're afraid of it because they know they can't do anything about it. Salakia. Okay? Their time is up. You know, all these things are going on in the earth and they can't do anything about it. This is Habakkuk 2:1. And it reads, I will stand upon my watch and and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Right. And this vision, right, the prophecy of really the deliverance of Israel and the destruction of this wicked world, this wicked kingdom under these wicked people. Right. And now we're seeing that vision become clearer and clearer as the days go on. Verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, and we're coming into that time. We're seeing it right now. But at the end, it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it. Yes, it took a long time to get to this point, right? And in the human aspect of it, 500 years is a long time. But now it's coming upon us, right? Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith, right? And that's those of us, Lord willing, we're counted amongst the elect, right? That we live by our faith now. All these people are getting ready to panic. I went to the store this morning. I didn't buy anything more than what I would buy any other week. And each week it has gone up. And I could almost run off my grocery list right now and tell you what it costs. Right, I bought 5 oranges. I bought a bottle of honey, pure raw honey, some bananas. I bought a loaf of bread. Right, I bought. Let me see what else did I get. Oh, I got some bag of cherries. I got some stuff, a few things for cleaning supplies like sponges and all that kind of thing. Not much, gloves, that you wear when you wash dishes or if you're cleaning up, right? So plastic gloves that you put over your hands, right? And various other little trivial things. It was almost $200. Okay. Oh, I bought 1 roasted chicken. Okay. So, I mean, the prices, the economy is failing. The infrastructure is failing. Okay, all the safety nets that they had in place, are being taken away. This whole place is done. You see, it cost me I think it was $169 for those few little items. Okay, I didn't have no more than 6 bags. I could put it this way, I could carry the bags in both my hands. Okay. And it was $169. How are people going to make it? Well, that's those that are outside the faith. Hey, you're gonna have to struggle with that. But the just will live by their faith, right? We got faith in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua that the Lord will provide for us. Verse 5, and Salakia for the rant. Verse 5, it says, ye are also, because he transgressed by wine, he is what? A proud man. You see, that pride is in Esau. That's his number one characteristic. I can do whatever I want to do. Nobody is above me. Nobody can stop me. I'm better than everybody else. Okay? Neither keepeth at home who enlarges his desires. Hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. So not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that laid himself with thick clay, talking about the debt of this place, which is going to be a primary reason, okay, because now you're getting ready to see, or you're starting to see, that hyperinflation kick in, and the value of the dollar is decreasing by the day. All right. Verse 7, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them. Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Woe to him that covereth in evil covetousness to his house, right? And to the house of Esau. that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. And they primarily sinned against their soul by what? Killing the Israelites, keeping us in oppression, keeping us in bondage, right? Because there's also a scripture, if I'm not mistaken, just paraphrasing, it said, even when our calamity had an end, they just basically furthered it. Okay? For that stone cried out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establish a city by iniquity. Right? They established this country, all right, through iniquity, by iniquity, okay, by unrighteous bloodshed, okay. So we're seeing that happen here in so-called America. And why? Because their kingdom is falling in front of them. 2 Ezra 6 and verse 7, then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, for Esau is the end of the world. And that's what you're looking at now, the end of Esau's world, right? His rulership, his kingdom. And Jacob, which would be the Israelites, is the beginning of it that followeth, okay? And this place is going to be thrown down with violence, right? To bring in the kingdom of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai and establish Jacob in the earth, okay? In righteousness forever and ever. You see? Verse 10, the hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other question, Ezra, asked thou not. You see, we'll stop right there. As a matter of fact, let me go up to, if I can, let's go to 2 Ezra 15, around about verse 16. And this will be the last scripture. I didn't mean to go this long. Salakia. Daggone devil, Satan, rebuke you. Salakia, y'all forgive me. There's always something. Anyway, let's finish this out. 2 Ezra 15 and 16 says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride. Remember, Esau has that pride. You know, we're Americans. We can bounce back from anything. We're the best. We're the Proud Boys. We're this, we're that. You see them all walking around in each and every city and town, all swole up, all puffed up. You know, they hit the gym, 5 times a week. You know, you can see the pride in their faces as they walk, okay? They think they're going to be able to overcome everything. Well, you're not going to be able to overcome them chariots. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Okay? So pretty much that's it. You know, we go over these scriptures weekly as it appears, because of all the things that you see that's going on in the earth. Okay? And they're going to keep coming out. All right? As a reminder, to Jacob, okay, you better repent before it's too late, before this destruction comes upon this place. All right. So just a kind of a current events type lesson today, okay, concerning what went on in the news, with these ships, right? And what happened to this guy when he was taken out by his own. All right. So with that, I'll end the lesson right there, giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Shalom.